So if Eskom has its way, you could be paying less for electricity, but only during the winter months. This is because the power utility plans to reduce its peak rates in the high demand season of winter, but hike rates in summer, which is the low demand season. Eskom tabled its new electricity tariff structure proposals to the National Energy Regulator of South Africa. So what does this mean for us and businesses? Let's chat to mining and energy expert Ted Blom. Ted, talk us through these changes. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Okay, so it's quite simple. I mean, this is very similar to a tariff that Eskom tried to push through in 2015 called the peak tariff adjustment. What they're basically doing, and believe you me, you need to actually cut and dice it to get to the core of the thing, is what they're doing is they're reducing the winter tariff, which is for 3 months. And then they're going to hike the summer tariff, which is for 9 months. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that they're going to get far more money in the 9 months of summertime than they're now giving up in the 3 months of winter time. That's the one issue. The other issue is they're going to upfront load the tariff structure so that where in the past you paid a low rate for the first incline block tariff, which they are now getting rid of, and then subsequently you paid more and more and more as you consumed over a given threshold. What they're now doing is they're upfronting all those extra costs. So now you're going to be paying a lot more upfront for your first 1,000 or 600 kilowatt hours. And then you only get the discount or the benefit of their new tariff after you've consumed 2 households worth of electricity, which most people don't get to because they don't have the money to pay for electricity. So now it's really going to burden every household. Firstly, and secondly, an excessive burden on households that don't buy a lot of electricity because they can't afford it. So yes, on your first, I haven't seen the numbers because Eskom hasn't provided the exact breakdown, but on the first, say, 300 megawatts kilowatt hours of electricity, where you used to pay R1.29, you pay probably closer to R2 as an example, and that will more than double the average person's electricity bill. So it's all smoke and mirrors. Eskom have tried this before. I was successful in stopping it in 2015 because the homework was defective, the assumptions were defective, and their stats were more than 5 or 6 years old.
So what are you going to do this time? Because what you're telling me doesn't sound good for business. It doesn't sound good for you and me.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they're trying to choke the economy just to make sure that they survive, and they couldn't care that the rest of us sink in the process. So, yeah, I did participate in the initial discussion towards the end of last year, and I certainly will be putting in another paper to support my argument and on behalf of the public, because I mean, obviously I've been doing this for 12 years on behalf of the public. I'll certainly be putting a vehement opposition into this tariff structure, and if needs be, I'll take the matter through to the courts. I don't have the means, but I'm sure people will support me, and we'll take this matter through to the courts.
I mean, just South Africans just don't get a break, do they? I mean, it is relentless, isn't it? Tell us how this works with renewable energy. Is there any development there?
Okay, so now they've issued a notice to the effect that they want to now fast track the new renewable energy. But the fact of the matter is that for the average business, which runs 24/7, renewable energy is only available worldwide. The statistics are 20% for solar, 15% for wind. And wind, it's totally unpredictable. Solar, at least you can half predict. So 20% of 24 hours is 4 hours, roughly. 15% of 24 hours is 3 hours, roughly. You cannot run an industry without storage or backup if you're only getting power from the renewables for 3 or 4 hours a day. And the cost of the backup, the storage, is 10 times more expensive than coal or nuclear power. And you also cannot grab enough power from the renewables in 3 hours to last you for 24 hours. It's just insane. Somebody needs to have their head read. And I'm afraid it seems to me that this is another part of collusion version 2, because the first collusion happened with the most expensive renewable tariffs in the world in the first 2 bidding windows. I think those windows are now over R5 a kilowatt hour.
Sure. Ted, all right, all a bit depressing, but thanks for crunching those numbers for us, and good luck with your court case.